We say this regularly. The diaspora, which has grown for, well, literally hundreds of years, they've gone to all these, I would say, far-flung places. I'm sure the Australians hopefully don't get offended by that. But they go to these incredible places that actually at the time were deeply pioneering. Canada at the time was a pretty tough environment to make a living. But Australia, this is the nation that we here in the UK, we used to send our convicts over to Australia because it was the most godforsaken, I mean, beautiful now, but in those days it was a really pioneering place to build a life and make a living. And you've got to really take your hat off to the Sikhs from those days, in the early days of the diaspora in Australia, to have gone to a country like Australia that has so many natural challenges, not least everything that moves or crawls there wants to kill you or eat you. They managed to build these lives like they have done all over the world. And again, it's just such a testament to the spirit, the strength of character, and of course the philosophy of Sikh that allows and creates these pioneering individuals to go to these places, build a life and build a successful life. And I also, when we look at these photographs of these old Sikhs from these days past, and unfortunately there are not many around, but those that you do see, they are all these magnificent characters, very proud, stout, solid characters, always beautifully presented, very proud of their appearance. And it really is, it just makes such an impressive sight. Yeah, they must have come to a land that, first of all, you had this sort of, this almost understated apartheid. They're all already up against this sort of white superiority. Again, it's easy to say that through the lens of time, but at the time, that was just the prevailing environment. That was the prevailing society where immigrants, other than white immigrants, were always looked down upon. So they again had this double challenge of not just trying to cope with the environment and cope with a pioneering situation, but also against the population, the white population, who essentially were in charge of society. They were trying to make a living and build a life against that context as well. So these guys really were built of granite. These guys, they came from a pretty tough background in the Punjab. But they built their lives, they had this entrepreneurial spirit, and in whatever form, whether it's in the outback or whether it's on the coastal regions, they've managed to build their lives. And I would love to hear from any of our Sikh audience in Australia and of course in New Zealand. Let us know if you've got any stories about your previous generations. Are you first generation, second, or what? Let us know your stories in the comments. And it's always very educational because so few people know about the history in particularly areas like Australia, Canada, etc. We know so little about this diaspora and their history, certainly from the early days.